Now, CBC Manitoba first met Art Jonasson when he was in an emergency situation during the 2011 flood. A cattle rancher in Vogar, Manitoba, who was loading up his cows to try and save them from the rising water. Today, Jonasson is the Reeve of the RM of the West Interlake and represents hundreds of ranchers in this area, as well as the people in the communities of Ashern and Ericsdale, cottagers and seasonal visitors. This morning on Information Radio, Reeve Jonasson talked to Marcy Markusa about the benefits and challenges of representing such such a diverse population.
It's a challenge. We were sort of forced to amalgamate in 2014, which nobody really wanted to see it happen. It was, the arm of Ericsdale was doing fine on its own. The arm of Siglaness was struggling with the flood, but we're managing. But at the time, the province wanted to any municipality under 1,000 people had to amalgamate with the neighbors. So we were put into that position. So
this is coming up on 10 years of amalgamation, right? So what's been the greatest benefit, and what do you think is, you were talking to me off air about the younger generation being a big part of the success you think moving forward?
Yes, I think the big thing is the younger people know each other more. In the old, before the amalgamation, there was a lot of competition between towns along Number 6 Highway, and there was a great deal of competition between Ericsdale and Ashern. There was always a competition, and I think now we're seeing past that, I hope, and are looking at, I know Ericsdale has their Roger Kimley Festival. They have a curling rink. Ashern doesn't have a curling rink, but we can share that, right?
Yep. We
have 2 hospitals within our municipality. I think we're the only municipality in Manitoba that has 2 hospitals, and they work really well together. Ashern is the further north hospital, so they are very busy from everyone north of Ashern. Ashern is the first hospital coming down Number 6, but Ericsdale runs a terrific hospital as well.
So just so people can place it, Ashern and Ericsdale, we talk a lot about because they're the 2 main communities that are like town sites. So there's about 400 people in Ericsdale, about 700 here in Ashern. I think I got close numbers there.
Yeah,
close.
Pretty close. Yeah.
Do people worry about the healthcare situation? Because moving forward, we just heard about a nurse about changes coming to Lakeshore up the way from here in Ashern. What is the future of healthcare services in this West Interlake look like in the next while? Because the NDP also made the promise for the ER in Ericsdale. So, 20 minutes apart. Is all of that going to be coming to fruition? What's your sense of all this?
Well, a lot of these decisions were made by the province almost 8 years ago. Shared health.
The previous government, yeah.
Yeah, it was the NDP government.
Oh, sorry, that previous government.
Yeah, previous government looked at changing up the healthcare system, and Shared Health was formed. And Shared Health had decided that they went all across the province and looked for ideas from municipalities, and we were all consulted. And what came back from that was people wanted services closer to home. They didn't want to have to all go to Winnipeg for all their services, and they wanted. Emergencies right now. If you were to have an emergency, you would have to be hauled right into Winnipeg because there were no emergency rooms. They just fixed you up, patched you up, and sent you into Winnipeg.
So if Ericsdale's getting new beds, we know that's happening. It's happening now.
Ashern.
Pardon me, Ashern. I'm pointing at the wrong.
Yeah.
I'm pointing out the window like people can see me. Ashern Hospital getting new beds. Ericsdale, a new ER. Do you have any timeline on that, or is that confirmed, or what other plans might be in the works for healthcare in Ericsdale?
Well, right now they're talking about an ambulance garage, a three bay ambulance garage going into Ericsdale, which is good for the community, and using it as a teaching garage as well. Like they're going to try to train people there. Ashern just got an expansion of 28 beds. Mm-hmm. And this was decided as a hub and spoke model for healthcare. There was going to be regional hubs and community hospitals, and so Ashern was chosen as a regional hub because of its furthest north and services the area north, and so they expanded the hospital. Actually, they replaced the old hospital with a new 28-bed fully modern hospital that should be up and running next fall.
Next fall, I was going to ask you about timelines.
Yeah, next fall.
I know.
But the old hospital then is also going to be expanded into an emergency room as well. So they're expanding from 5 beds in the emergency room to 13 beds.
I know that Communities in Focus is obviously, we're here for our show, but it's a week-long endeavor, and we're covering so many different stories that'll be rolling out in the next while.
Mm-hmm.
And my colleague Bryce Hoy, I know, is going to have some healthcare stories coming up as well, looking at more detail. So I don't mean to rush you along. But I do want to ask you as the last question this morning, Art, what do you think is the future for the West Interlake? Like, what's the big thing you're most excited about for this area?
I look at this area is experiencing right now a new wave of immigration. We're all immigrants, and this, my ancestors came here 100 years ago, but there's new immigrants coming into our region, and I was reading. They had a reading week, and so I had an opportunity to read to the little
kids at the school.
Yeah, 4 and under. And we have a multinational classroom there. I think there was kids from the Philippines, kids from Korea, kids from Ukraine, kids from China, and all the local kids. It was a multinational classroom.
And that's change in terms of the diversity that's represented in this area.
That is the change. There's a lot of business owners coming, immigrant business owners coming into the area. Our challenge going forward is to incorporate those people into our communities. We have to open our doors to them and make them become part of our fabric.
Art Jonasson is the Reeve of the RM of West Interlake. He spoke this morning with Information Radio's Marcy Markusa.